and billionaires who cannot even afford to risk any money. And today we'll talk about fundamentals of investment, what Andre exactly teach in our academy of in Skyway Invest Group, and we will talk a bit more detail about some rules and guidance which he recommends to every single person, every single investor to follow. And I really hope that this information will be useful. Do you mind if I go a bit more detail about investment? Are you enjoying to listen to this sort of stories, or you want to go to the business more? Investment, a little bit about investment?
Yes.
Okay, here it is, investment basics. So we have 8 rules of private investor, which is philosophy given by Andrei Havratov. He started looking into investment more than 25 years ago, as I shared yesterday. He's a professional investor, he's a multi-millionaire himself, entrepreneur, businessman. He started with the traditional businesses. He used to have a few oil and gas, petrol stations in Ukraine. He originally from Ukraine. But then he went into traditional businesses, he became a distributor for some network marketing company, then he owned a few businesses, and then he ended up, leaving all the businesses inside, and he started looking into investment specifically. And 7 years ago, when he created Academy of Private Investor, his initial thought was to provide education to the people, to the public, and then provide people with opportunity to invest into different companies. So he published these 8 rules of private investor, which are fundamentals. And even when we talk with very big investors and successful businessmen, entrepreneurs, we do tend to tell them about these 8 rules. So once you learn them, you can use in your presentations very effectively. They're very simple, but I can guarantee that none of you here are following all of them 8. None of you. But they're so simple. You all know this. I'm not going to open like America for you. You all heard about this many, many times, but you don't do it, and we will try to understand why a bit more detail today. Okay? So what is investment? Investment is actually is the action or the process where you invest your money into the business or into venture. It could be even personal. So investing means an action of putting money into something and expecting to have some sort of returns. We call them ROI, return on your investment. I guess the importance of education, I mentioned this already multiple times, and there's one very good video on YouTube about one very rich man been doing some conferences in Russia, and when he finished his conference, he talks a lot about the investment and how people can invest the money into different franchisee businesses and become successful, how the people can start own business and become successful. And at the end of the presentation, one guy, he raised a hand and he had a question to the speaker. So the speaker asked him, so what is your question? And the question was, I have $10,000 US, so where would you recommend me to invest this money? Guess what the guy said? You need to invest in your brain. Because if I would have $10,000, I would know where to invest this money because I have the knowledge, because I invested in myself to get the knowledge. But if you're looking for someone else just to tell you where to park your money, then don't blame that person if something goes wrong with your investment, because it was not your decision. You put responsibility on someone else's shoulders. So how many people is actually happening today that they will come and ask, so where shall I invest? What shall I do with my money? Or do you believe that this company is good enough? Or do you believe that I should put the money into the Skyway? So your response should be, why don't you first go and check yourself? Get the knowledge about the company, do due diligence. So then it is not my decision, it is your decision, because you're responsible for your finance. Lots of people, they use it's very quite popular to use in today hedge funds, where, do you know what is the hedge fund? Okay, hedge fund is investment organization where they will collect the money from people. Different hedge funds, some of them entrance could be 5,000, some of them entrance could be 100,000 and more, but they will collect the money from investors and they will reinvest into different markets, and you will have some sort of the percentage, which is not guaranteed, but they promise that once you lock your investment for the long term, they will provide you with some returns. And the funny thing is that people might lose the money, but hedge fund never will lose the money. because people are paying the fees, people the one who risk, and the hedge fund will never lose the money because it's always in profit. So therefore, when people trust third parties to manage their finance, for me it's very similar as if you trust a third party to manage your own life. You don't want this to happen, right? You want to make a decision who you are dating with, who's your family, where you live, what job you have. You don't want someone else tell you how to live your life. But why people don't treat this same attitude with the money? Why they happy to give the money away and hope that someone else will do something magical and give returns for them? It is not happening in real life. Yeah. You need to take responsibility for your money. You need to take responsibility for whatever you invest the money into. We can show you, we can do the beautiful presentation, we can answer all your possible questions and answers and objections, but it's your decision where you invest your money. And for you to understand this, you need to have the knowledge. So therefore, for all of you who are registered in Skyway Invest Group, and I hope you do, if you click on Education tab, you will be able to see some lessons which are free of charge about fundamentals of the investment, about fundamentals of the rules of private investor, and you will find a few bit more detailed files about capitalization, liquidity, and the risks, which we covered in Master Profi session, so it's much more advanced. But for you, general knowledge, you can access these files completely free of charge. They're there for you at your back office, where you can learn about investment. So have you heard about, I think I asked you yesterday about this Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki? No? Only two people, right?
No, you didn't ask.
I didn't ask yesterday? I didn't? Okay, so Robert Kiyosaki, he created lots of content, lots of books and workshops and games related to financial education. And he described people that people had three different mindset. Mindset of poor, mindset of middle class, and mindset of rich people. So mindset of poor person will be this. You receive income, you spend it.
Spend it.
Yes? You receive salary, you spend it.
Spend it.
One salary, lots of spendings. So it's like you're running a rat race. So he called it rat race, where people get it, spend it, get it, spend it. But that is not the worst one. You know what the worst one is? B.
Middle class.
Middle class.
Middle class.
Middle class mindset is worse than poor person mindset. Because middle class people, they not just get an income and spend it, but they go into liabilities. What is liability? Liability is whatever, like a house or car, whatever that's put money out of your pocket. Asset, whatever put money into your pocket. So what middle class people do, they got the mortgages, they got in their different credit cards, they buy the phones, which they end up paying on a monthly basis. They buy the cars, which they end up paying on a monthly basis. They have the credit cards and multiple credit cards. Do you know that, guess what country today has the biggest debt in the world?
US.
You know that because we covered this in Master Profi. US. United States today has the biggest debt in the world. The debt is almost 17 trillion.
How?
17 trillion. Government owns money. And if you look at the American people, they all, or majority of them, we call it American dream. When you have a big house, when you have, multiple cars, when you have, like beautiful family, and everyone want to have this, everyone want to have this, possess this goods, have multiple cars, get houses, because it's very easy. You just go to bank and you take the mortgage. You go to bank and take the loan. But then people end up living in a debt all the time. In America today, according to McKinsey research, 95%, probably even like 96, 95% of people, they have more than 3 credit cards. Imagine.
Yeah, it's really imagine, because it's one of the best US, so business-wise or income-wise, it's the biggest one. So this one, it's like this, it's imagine really.
You see, what he said is actually
looks like the US is the biggest, everybody thinking like a US, so it's a dream for us. So they have like this, it's a
What is the keyword?
Yeah.
Thinking.
thinking.
But what's in reality?
Yeah.
They're in biggest debt. I encourage you to watch another movie. It's a bit more details about financial stuff. It explains how America puts, how they produce lots of loans and how they give people lots of mortgages, and then they put themselves really in a difficult position when in 2009 a real estate crisis happens. Do you all remember 2009 when it was the big crisis happening in the US?
Yeah.
And then lots of countries being affected?
Yeah.
That's exactly the reason why it happened. And this movie called Big Shot, write it down, Big Shot. I really recommend you to watch. I've watched it like 5 times, and every time I watch, it's something new I learn. So the story of this movie that the guys, they predict the market, and they understood that sooner or later this bubble will burst. Because you cannot just give people loans, like you cannot just give everyone. And it was one family where they have a loan, mom has a loan, dad has a loan, kid has a loan, and they went to bank and they managed to get the loan for their dog. Dog has a loan. It's a true story. You would be surprised what a mess happened in America.
Yeah,
But they will put everything so nicely, so entire world, they don't even look at it. They don't even see the truth.
True.
And when I went to America, I was really surprised. We had a few conferences in America. First of all, they're really scared of Russians. So when they learned that I'm Russian, they're like, ooh, we need to be careful. But the second, they all very limited. They don't even have a passport. So when we asked to do verification now in our company, you need to put the passport details, passport data. Majority of American people, they don't even have a passport because they never travel outside of the countries. And this is true. You can check, you will be surprised.
Yeah,
they have a card which they can use between the countries, but majority of the people, they don't even have own passports because they never travel outside. So whatever the culture, whatever they teach from the small age until the adults, lots of things are just being promoted specifically by government so they can, brainwash people. And they live on this dream and they live on this, style, thinking that, I have a beautiful house, I have a beautiful car, we have multiple cars and, we have a family. But if you will take this person out of a job, everything will collapse.
Yes.
That's what happened during depression. That's what happened in 2009 when lots of people committed suicides, when Lehman Brothers went bankrupt. People lost the job, that's it, they don't have no money to pay.
Yeah.
And they have huge debts.
There is no other way also, so it should be suicide.
Exactly. So it's a very dangerous position of having the mindset of middle class person. Because middle class person think, okay, I have a job, it is safe. What if I take the loan? What if I take the credit card? What if I take this and that? And if you put your balance, what do you own and what is your income, you will see the massive gap. So therefore, it's much more dangerous to have B mindset compared to this. But what we want people to have, and that's exactly what Robert Kiyosaki promoted on his books, is to have a mindset of rich person. And rich person, he doesn't create liabilities, rich person create assets. And out of assets, he pay for liabilities. Let me give you an example. So you have income, which is your salary, right? So you have expenses, so you pay for whatever bills and for your car, for whatever it is. And let's say you want to purchase another car. Like you want to make, I don't know, purchase a car which is 20,000. Can you buy the car here for 20,000 US dollars?
Yeah.
Let's say car costs 20,000 US dollars. So you're not going to bank and ask for a loan. You don't take the credit card. You think as investor, where I can create 20,000. Then you look at our business. We have a multi-level marketing. As we discussed yesterday, multi-level marketing gives you 35% in return. So you could collate how much money do I need to bring to the business so the 35% out of that money will be equal to 20,000 so I can buy the car. How many presentations do I need to do on a monthly basis, and how many months do I need to do this presentation for me to achieve my goal, which is having a car for 20,000? So you're not going for the sort of easy as if option to get the loan and get yourself to the debt and plus pay interest, but you start creating money for you. So you start creating opportunity. And it could be through the business, the way I just explained. It could be by investing into shares, obligation, real estate, or whatever it is. But rich people, the way they think, whatever the goals they have, whatever that they wanted to own, whatever it's a piece of land or a piece of car or a piece of property, but they will always think, how can I create asset which will cover these expenses? And that's how you should think. And in our company, when we do different promotions, and I don't know if Khaled mentioned yesterday, but 4th of August, please write down this date, 4th of August 2018 is going to be EcoFest. EcoFest happens once in a year and in Minsk in Belarus, where Dr. Unitsky invited all partners to come to Belarus to meet him, to see the technology, to take the pictures and see the production, see the Unibus, Unicore, see all this Ecotechno Park, which you saw yesterday in the video. You can witness it yourself. You can touch, you can see exactly where you have invested your money. It will happen 4th of August this year. So every year before this date is released, we usually do the promotion. And Andrei, he think like investor. He will never ask you to come to the Belarus without him to provide an opportunity for you to earn and cover all your expenses for you to go to Belarus. So usually what we have created, that will be actually next week, we're going to put some promotion where people can fulfill certain terms and conditions as they network to bring some revenue, or maybe it's going to be related to the ranking. We don't know yet, we haven't yet calculated, but we're going to put some promotion where people can earn more money than they usually will, because we understand that there's going to be lots of people who want to travel to Minsk, and we wanted to cover all the expenses as much as we can. Is it good or good? It's very amazing the way how Andrei treats this business, and actually because of him, I think myself, I decided to quit my full-time job and join this business. The product, the Skyway product is beautiful, but for Skyway you can be just investor. So Skyway is one side of the business, but what Andrei is creating is completely different mentality. So if you teach people how to become an investor, how to think as an investor, how you can create. So whatever that you need in your life, there are always something or someone who can help you and create whatever that you need to fulfill your dreams and goals. And that's what it is in Robert Kiyosaki teachings. He called it as the rich person mindset. When you create the assets to cover liabilities. So watch the space next week. We're gonna put some promotion for the Ecotechno Park. And I'm sure that we're gonna have lots of people this year. Last year we had 5,000 people coming to Minsk. We have a huge piece of land, it's 38 hectares, but even 5,000 was quite a lot. This year we're expecting to have 10,000 people, among of which at least 70% will be English-speaking countries like outside Russia, Kazakhstan. So it's going to be really, really massive for all of us. And I think this will be the last time when company do this open days for investors, because this year we will finish technology. So it's going to be no EcoFest next year, because we will completely finish entire business plan. So if you want to see where your money goes, then you need to be in Minsk in August 4th.
Sure, inshallah.
So moving forward. Moving forward. Oh, it's stuck. What time we supposed to have a break?
Quarter past 6.
Quarter past 6. Okay. I can talk about investment like long. We used to do Master Profit online, and it was for entire months, 4 hours per day, for 2 days per week, and it was not enough to cover. So yeah, I'm gonna go now to like faster. And if you're gonna have any questions, you can ask me during the break, and then after the break we go to the business part specifically. So 8 rules for private investor. The rule number 1. you need to understand what is the difference between assets and liabilities. We already discussed it previously. What is asset? What is asset? Say it again. Asset is when you put the money into the pocket. Asset which creates your income. What is liability? You put out. So whatever the spendings, you call them liability. Financial dependence and financial freedom. Financial dependence, if you just look at the different materials, you would find the different meanings. But in our terms, to put it in a simple, financial independence, where, let's say, for you to be independent, for you not to struggle in and not to decrease your lifestyle, let's say you need only $2,000 per month. So if you have $2,000 per month for the next year, so you do $2,000 times 12 months, so it's 24,000, which means that you can live entire year completely independent. So if you decided not to go to work and you have 24,000 in your bank account, you are fine. You are financially independent because you have this money which will cover for entire year. Make sense? So this is financial independence. When you have enough money to cover for the next, not 1 year, but 10 years. It's called financial dependence. Financial freedom, from another hand, when you're completely free. When, regardless if you increase your lifestyle, regardless if you decided to go to Fiji tomorrow, or whatever you decided to do tomorrow and buy the house, or buy some other goods, you have enough income, enough assets to cover whatever expenses will be. We call it financial freedom, so you're free. You don't worry about money, you don't worry about income, you don't worry about having something which you cannot afford. You have enough money to achieve your freedom. And you can only achieve your freedom by having an assets which will be profitable. Make sense? So you need to have not just one instrument which you invest, because it's very risky just to invest in one instrument. You need to have a scope of instruments, we call them portfolio, which will be able to provide you with the guaranteed returns. And once you have this portfolio with the guaranteed returns, only then you can achieve your financial freedom, because even if half of your investment will go down, another half of the investment will go up, because it's impossible to lose completely entire portfolio unless you're so bad on forming portfolio and you make completely wrong choices, which again we will be able to teach our students during the Master Profi with more detail. And the last one, what is different between investment and investing? Investment is an instrument. So the Skyway is an instrument, so it's investment. It's equity-based crowdfunding. But investing itself is the process. Make sense? So that's pretty much different. So rule number one is to understand these terms, because these terms are very important. Let me ask you a question. If you have a house, is it asset or liability?
Liability.
Who think that house is asset? Raise the hand. Who think that house is liability? Raise the hand. Okay. What is your name, sir?
Alan.
No, behind you.
Anil Kumar.
Alikula.
Anil.
Anil Kumar.
Yeah.
Anil, why do you think that house is asset?
Because the value of the real estate is going up, it doesn't come down.
Okay.
So
why do you think that house is liability?
But you are spending, you are spending, let's say, the taxes or something else, you're still paying on, right? Whenever you want to sell the house, at the same time, the other side of the market is still growing up. So they are equal with the share. Let's say the house price is 5K, or let's say $5. At the same $5, you're buying the other stuff for the $5. But in 2 years, it's going to grow at $15. The $15, it goes to equal the spending hours of $15. So there is equal life, equal side. There is no any kind of up and down growing. It goes equal from both sides. So the house cannot be assets unless you are spending for the house and money on.
Okay, thank you. So the correct answer is house is can be asset, but there is liability.
Because we are
the reason why is liability, because if you have a house and you live in a house yourself, so you're still paying the rent, you're paying the bills, you might even pay the mortgage, so the money comes out, so you're paying for that. I agree with Anil that with the time the market, will grow. But even though it's not guaranteed, there is so many examples where people invest in house and they lost lots of money because real estate not guaranteed returns. The only time when your house is asset, when you have rented your house, and whoever lives in your house give you money for the rent, which is bigger than your spendings for this house.
Covers expenses.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Only then house is asset. Let's take another example. If you have a car, is it asset or liability? Who think the car is asset? Raise your hand. Who think that a car is liability? Who has no idea and do not thinking at all?
No, it's like a both. No, like when you give the rent for car, it's a asset. When you enjoy and these things going liabilities.
And this is your own car.
Okay.
It's
Your
different. If I get one car, it means liability.
Liability, correct.
So if a rental car,
Correct.
it's
Okay, another question. You think your husband and wife are they asset or liability?
That's liability.
it's
Liability.
For sure.
I hope you all have assets. I hope so. I will leave you that to think. We're not going to discuss because I know we have some couples here. So this is the basic difference between your asset and liabilities, where asset will put the money into your pocket and liability will take money out of your pocket. So second rule is the 5 commandments. 5 commandments are really basics, and every single person should follow this with ease, but unfortunately majority of the people don't. So the first commandment, save 10 to 30 from your income. Every time you receive some income, always put the money on side. Robert Kiyosaki says that the first who you need to pay is yourself. And this is so true. You're not just receiving the money to pay for the bills, you're receiving the money because you work hard to earn this money in the first place. So you always need to put the 10% at least for side for yourself. It could be for investment, or it could be maybe you want to go for a nice dinner, or maybe you want to buy something for yourself, but have this as a habit to put aside at least 10% of your income always. Number 2, control your expenses. By control your expenses, we mean that don't just buy something because you see the big sale, or don't just buy something because it's impulse buyers. There are lots of advertisers today who use the different psychological tricks to make sure that people are triggered and they spend because they feel like they want this thing. But at the end of the day, you might not even want this thing. You just purchased because it was the sale or discount. Recently I went to when I went to Dubai, I went to one of these malls, what else you go to Dubai? And they had this promotion, like you buy one bag and another bag 50% off. Right?
yeah.
And I bought and I purchased, and then I went home and I was like, well, but I don't even need the second bag. I never even had it, I never even wanted to have a second bag, but I only purchased because it was 50% off.
50% off.
Like how silly it is. And if you look at all these, spontaneous decisions we make, you'll be really surprised to see how easily, you spend the money by these impulses. So therefore, control your expenses is very important, as well as to protect your money. By protecting the money, it doesn't mean put them under your mattress and sleep on them. Protecting your money means that make sure that whatever the decision you make, whatever it's investment decision, or whatever it's a business decision, or whatever it's any decision, you protecting it. You think first 3 times if that's what important for me to have before you go and spend. And I know so many examples where, specifically in a crypto market, which we discussed yesterday, there are lots of friends of mine who are involved in different cryptocurrency. So one guy, he called me almost on a weekly basis with another great idea of cryptocurrency, and he always would tell me, Mila, now you have to invest today, now. Once I believed him, and I lost completely. Now I was like, you know what? Give me a few days, I will have a look and I will decide. I protected my money, and don't just trust you because you said it's last day today. And that's what we all should follow. We should follow these really simple principles, and then you will be surprised to see that at the end of the day, you save more. You will have more cash in your pocket. Rule number 4, learn how to invest wisely, which is pretty much covered across our courses. And the last one, always learn to earn more, which means always create additional assets to cover whatever that you wanted to achieve, whatever that you wanted to buy. Don't just go and get the credit cards and put yourself into the debt, but think as an investor. what do I need to do to create the income? And having today opportunity to be part of the Skyway Invest Group business, it's much more easier. You just open business plan or marketing plan, you see what percentages which will give you and what sum of money and what will be your commission. And you just started backwards. You start with your target, then you break it down how much money you need to bring to the business, then you break down how many meetings you need to do because we have a conversion rate, then you break down how many people you need to contact, and then you go to action plan and you wake up in the morning and you're doing it because you have your end goal, because you know what you need this money for. Make sense? Rule number 3, financial plan. Financial plan linked with the first part, which we discussed, the dream formula. If you have your goals, but you don't put them into the time frame, if you don't put them into monetary value, it's very hard for you to achieve the goal because you don't know what is the worth. How can you buy the house if you don't know how much the house costs? If you don't know how much you need to save? If you don't know what activities you need to do for you to have enough savings so you can buy the house? So financial planning is very important, and I don't know how in this country, but in majority of the countries in Europe, there's lots of consultant companies run by government where you can come to them and you can ask free advice of financial planner. Do you have it here, financial planning? I think it's pretty much common in every single country. So you can ask them to give you like advice completely free of charge. It's called financial planning advisor. So you go to the meeting one-on-one, you tell them what is that you wanted to achieve, and they will help you to put a financial plan together. Very useful, and I really encourage you to look in deep a bit more detail. Rule number 4, diversification. What is diversification? It's the strategy of not putting all eggs in one basket. We have one guy in Russia who recently, well, it was now 6 months ago, he sold his house to invest in a Skyway. Do you think that was a clever decision?
No.
No. It was really silly. It was a really stupid decision. Because we are not Unitsky, right? We don't know if things, what they can go wrong. It is a business. We don't know what will happen tomorrow. We don't know what will happen in a year and in 5 years' time. Investment, only invest money which you're ready to lose. And I can guarantee, if God forbid something happened to Skyway business and this guy will not going to get his returns, I don't know what will happen to him and his family, honestly. He put everything. He sold his own house. He lived today with his mom and his wife and his daughter, but he has a few hundreds of millions, shares in Skyway. And his business plan based on the company goes to IPO. Imagine, he put entire life of his family into the hands of one man who run the company. It's extremely risky. So therefore, what we wanted to do as the Skyway Invest Group, we understand that today, Skyway is an amazing opportunity. We have no doubt and we have all the confidence that company will be successful because they signed the contract with the government, because we've been working with the royal families now, we have support from the president, we're working with the public, we have more than 75 offices worldwide, we have received certification from the Ministry of Transport, we have received certification from the German company TUV, which is the biggest certification body for the Europe. We've been invited to multiple dinners with the royal families, with the top people of the world, so we have lots of confidence. But even with this confidence, nothing is guaranteed. Nothing is guaranteed in this life. We don't know what could go wrong, maybe some things which we never even expect. But you never put all eggs in one basket. As investor, as entrepreneur, as the businessman, you should always think about diversification. You invest a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here. If one business failed, fine, I have another 3 to recover my loss. Remember Khalid yesterday, he shared, and I shared with you also my story, that we, those people who've been involved in the business, we are risk-free. Because wherever we invested initially, we make more money doing the business than our initial investment. So my financial plan, not based on the company goes to IPO, IPO for me it's a bonus. My financial plan based on the business I created for myself, on a daily, on a monthly, on a yearly basis. That's how you should treat this business. That is your guaranteed income because you do the business. And investment side of it is the bonus, is the cherry on a pie. Beautiful cherry. Forced to invest. But your business plan should not based on one company's success because there is big probability that something might go wrong. And also in the Skyway Invest Group, that's another reason why we looking to open up portfolio. Remember yesterday I shared with you that we will have another 15 instruments where people can invest into different businesses. So that will be diversification for our members, for our community. We're going to have a project development, we're going to have the real estate, we're going to have gold. We're working now very closely with the one company in Tanzania. They have a massive gold mine and they want to do the crowdfunding. And Andre now in cooperation with them, which will be project probably from next year onwards. So lots of things will be interrelated in our business. But at the moment, we concentrate on the Skyway. Once we finish this year with the 15 development stages, then we go massively to other markets, and then we go massively to other opportunities to help people and diversify their investment. Rule number 5, stick to the plan. Investment discipline. Investment discipline is so important, and when Andrew Kavratov shared his story, he actually lost few hundred millions. It was almost 22 years ago before he actually, initially when he started into investment, he started from the property investment. So he had lots of properties, and then in Ukraine, it was the big crisis happened, and instead of keeping the properties for longer and then wait for crisis to pass by, he started selling the properties under the market value, and as a result of it, entire portfolio crashed. So he lost lots of money, entire portfolio crashed, and he used this as example of demonstrating how to stick to the discipline, because if he would have stuck to his financial plan, he would never sold this real estate. He would have waited, because his plan was a long term. But because he saw that something is going wrong, and we all people are emotional animals, you know, that's why 95% of the people on stock exchange or forex, they failed, because they see that the market go down and they want to sell because they're scared to lose even more. It says there's a very good saying that people successful on the stock market or forex are those who can put emotions aside. Those people who are very rational, they put emotions aside and they take the calculated risks. Then they can become successful. But for you to be rational, for you to be analytical and put emotions aside, you need to stick to the investment plan. You need to know exactly what is your investment plan, and regardless the market circumstances, regardless what economy turnover, regardless of what it is, you would be able to always fix it, rearrange it without you losing your portfolio. Is that clear? Not too much detail?
It's okay.
Rule number 6, don't be greedy. Again, this guy with a house, perfect example of the greediness, where he wanted to have more and more and more. So he put himself in a very risky position where he sold his house, invest everything into Skyway, and now he's hoping for the best that company will go to, IPO or make him, multi-millionaire. Same with the cryptocurrency. Lots of people are, the reason why, if you look at the blockchain, why they raise money so fast, because they use these impulses. So they will say, you know what, you have another month, invest now, invest fast, because opportunity will be gone. So people are motivated by this greediness. I will miss the opportunity, right? So they have a fear of loss, and this is the biggest motivator. There's 2 biggest emotions which motivate people. Fear of loss is one of the biggest one from the negative, and love is the positive. If you love someone or something, you will do whatever it takes because you love the person or whatever it is. But if you have a fear, that's also a very big motivator, because if you're fearless of something, you also will take the actions, whatever it's fear of loss or whatever it's fear of not getting or whatever it is. So these are 2 really fundamental emotions, and every single decision human being ever made is either because they fear or either because it's the love. Think about it. It's really good scientific research behind it. But rule number 6 is really important, and I can see lots of people, lots of investors, they will put like savings and everything into one company because they want to have bigger portfolio and more pipes. It's good to have bigger portfolio, but then don't use your savings. Start doing the business, create more commission and invest commission. You don't need to, go to your savings or your family savings and put them into the business and hope for the best. Create the money for yourself so then you can reinvest them. And this is the correct way of looking at this business model. Rule number 7, education, self-development. I'm sure you all here agree that self-development, education is important, and that's why you're here. You're here the second day in a row because you wanted to learn something new, you want to get the knowledge, you want to be better at something, you want to be part of the opportunity. That's why you came here, because you understand the power of education, power of knowledge. But the most important, not just keep the knowledge inside your head, because it's useless. Whatever the knowledge you have, you need to go and practice, you need to go and execute, because only in execution, that's where the knowledge is being used. Otherwise, what is the difference between the library and your head? Lots of books, so what? If you don't use them, they're all useless.
Yeah.
And in our business, whatever we'll teach you today, after the break, this will be the instruments which you can take today and tomorrow make your commission on it, make your business, start your business straight away. So investment and education, self-development is the key. And Andrei Khabatov, he always encouraged us to go for different courses. Very recently I attended Tony Robbins when he talked about self-development, 7 days in London. Then last month I attended Andy Harrington, how to become better speaker and how to present better. So we always looking for different ways how we can improve. Because if we improve and we are growing, but if you're not growing, we are dying. There's actually one of the Les Brown key quotation: if people don't grow, then they die. And this is so true. And that's why the lots of people today who are very demotivated and they depressed, it's not because they're bad people, it's not because they're not talented. We all are talented. But people depressed because they lost, because they're not sure what to do, because they lost purpose. But once you give the purpose back to person, you cannot even give once person unleash this purpose for himself, then it will be completely different meaning. And every day will have completely different story, and the person will do whatever it takes to become better and better and better. And that is the big part of the self-development. And the last rule, but not the least, always multiply your investment profit. Always create different income streams. Whatever you might have a job, you can start a business on site. Wherever you have a business, you can have a look at the different opportunities into the investment and create a passive income stream. Whatever that you do, whatever the level you are at, always look for different way how you can be at the next level. And that's something we discussed with you yesterday, when there are different levels of people. There are people who are lower than you, there are people who are on a similar level than you, and people who you want to become like. And this is like 3 steps, and you're here in the middle. And by you going and taking this first step as example, you to be surrounded by people who you want to become like, they will push you to be better. And as a result of it, you will push other people to be better as well. And I can see this happening, myself, for example, when Armin told me about the Skyway, I really like opportunity, I really like the investment opportunity. And when I went to talk to my friends, they love it. They were amazed that, with the passion, I explained them, this is the best opportunity because I really believe it is the best opportunity. And I did not share with them because I wanted to make commission on them. I share with them because I strongly believe that if they would not have invested in a company, then it will be their loss. When company will go to IPO and all our pipes will become shares, I don't want to be only one millionaire in my family, then who's going to come with me on holidays? I will end up paying for everyone. So I wanted them to be successful too. We want to have, meetings with the family when we're not discussing, that we don't have enough money, but when we're discussing when we go for holiday next, what are next businesses we're going to do, what are next ventures, where we're going to travel and where we're going to go. So we want to have completely different level of communication within our closest circle. But for you to achieve this, you need to always look for someone higher who already achieved what you want. Because you cannot learn how to become better from people who are not successful. It's as if you wanted to become a doctor, but instead of going to university and spending time with the doctors, you spend time with the cleaner, hoping that she will teach you how to become a doctor. Same.
Same.
But in a lot of people don't see this. So if you want to become successful, start spending time with successful people. Start spending the time with the people who are already in your journey, because then you can support each other, you can help each other. That's why we create all these communities and groups, and to make sure that you people stick together. Because if you're there by yourself in a society or environment where people are negative, either you will change their mind, or more likely they will change yours. So you always need to stick to the right people, to the right circle, and to want it to become better and better and better. And once you learn, as you grow, you will definitely create different income streams. And I can see like my journey, I can see the journey of so many people who started earn initially like very little money as we joined the business, but the more time you spend with the business, the larger network becomes. You cannot downgrade. You cannot in 1 month earn 5,000 and then next month earn 2,000. You will see that every month, if you do certain amount of presentation, if you work with your people, your network only will grow. Your network cannot shrink. So automatically you will become bigger and bigger and better what you do, and we're just here to support you. So that's the last slide would be, it's again part of the Master Profit course, but I wanted just to share with you, lots of people, they don't believe that they can make 1 million starting with the $10. Do you want me to show you how? You can start with putting aside $10, and in how many years you can become a millionaire? Do you want to know? Sure?
Yeah.
Sure.
Or we're going to go for a break?
No, let's continue. Let's continue.
And this is a very simple formula. It's extremely simple, and I can guarantee that all of you heard about it. The secret is called compounded interest. Have you heard about it? Compounded interest. We all learn it from probably grade maybe 6 or 7. Compounded interest is it's mathematics. So it is the formula that's used actually quite a lot into investment principles, used by hedge funds and mutual funds, where people will invest the money and they will multiply the investment based on a certain percentage of the revenue that certain company can produce. So let me give you an example. So let's say you have, and this statistics were actually taken from Russia, so the numbers are extremely low. So if you have salary only $100, right? As we said previously, you put aside 10% of your income, which is $10 per month, and you put $10 per month, 8% per annum, 8% per month. In the first year, you will save $204. Make sense? So every month you put $10 under 8% interest. Every month.
Okay.
If you keep doing this, on your year 2 is going to be $721. Year 3, $2,000. Year 4, $5,000. In your year 10, you reach $1,300,000. Started from $10 per month. If you read Tony Robbins' book called Unshakable, it's a bestseller of 2018, January, February. This book just went crazily on so many markets, and I really recommend you. There's lots of financial insights in this book. He interviewed more than 300 people, the most successful investors in the world, and he asked them, what is the secret? You know what the answer was? Compounded interest. Because investors are not those people who look to buy for cheap and sell for more. It's not, if you buy for cheap and sell for more, it is not investing. It's called speculative market. So you speculate in the market. You want to buy cheap, sell more, the difference, happy days. But that is not investing. It's called speculating. But if you think as an investor, you always need to think for the long-term opportunities. And therefore, when it's a long-term and you find different business options or different investment options with a percentage, it could be 8%, 6%, 10% per year or per month, and you keep this investment rolling for the years and years and years, you will see yourself how big money start making big money. So in the year 1 it was only 200, and here 700, so only difference is 500, but here difference is almost
double.
700,000.
Yeah.
So only when big money start making the big money, that is where you can say, okay, I'm a professional investor because I know how to invest, I know how to make money works for me. And if you look at other examples, if you put $150 per month, then you can become a millionaire, 1.5 million in 6 years. And some of you might already have today 3,000, or you might already have 14,000. So you don't need to start with the 150, you can already start with a large amount of money, which means you can skip few years. The question which you should have in your mind now, where do you have opportunity where you can get 10% per month? That's the only question you should have. Because this is all mathematical formulas. You can calculate yourself. You can have a look at wherever the salary you have today, how much money will be 10% from your salary, and do the calculation. Do the compounded interest for the next 10 years, let's say 10% a year, not even per month, 10% a year, and have a look within how many years you will become a millionaire. And I can guarantee you that you will be surprised to see how compounded interest works. Majority of the people, they know about this, and you also nodded your head when I talk about the compounded interest, but how many of you are using it and invest in it using compounded interest? Do we have anyone? So we all know about it, but we're not using it. Why? Because people have a belief that for me to invest, I need to first have money. I need to start with 1,000 or 5,000. No, this is really misleading disbelief. I don't know where this idea comes from. For you to start investing, you can start with the $10. In our company, you can start investing with $5. How many people have $5 here to invest? Should be all of you.
All of you.
All of you, of course.
Yeah,
so you can become an investor with the $5. So don't make any excuses for you not to be involved because you don't have the money. There is no such thing. You create the money because we have a business. And I encourage you to have a look at this a bit more detail. If you read the Tony Robbins book, if you just Google capitalization and compounded interest, you will find lots of examples, and you can do the calculations yourself because you will be amazed to see how money creating the money. Specifically when it comes to the larger amounts, you will see that it's almost triple. Then it's like crazy numbers. If you put 150 per month for 10% per month, in 10 years, you're going to have 150 million US dollars. 150 million.
It's something.
And how many of you here in this country more than 10 years? Exactly. And how many of you have 150 million? You will be surprised to see, like, I run this conference like a lot, and there are people like you come for, why you come to different countries? Majority of you are foreigners. Why?
We miss that opportunity because we don't know about Skyway. Just know we are hired.
Sure, now you do, but why you come to different countries? Because you look for opportunities.
Yeah, different
right, to earn. Because if you were happy in your country, then you would never leave in your country. Because I'm sure that deeply inside your heart of all of you, you would want it to live back home, not here.
Yes, you're right.
You're here for opportunity. Here it is. Don't miss it. Let's have a break, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
August, 4th August.
4th August.
Barely say it.
When do we need to go back? Break? Is it half an hour or half an hour? Okay, so we're back 6:45. 45. Okay, yeah, 45. Thank you.